Hello everybody, Jason here from TSST Time, doing something a little different today. Usually I'm doing games, or I'm doing voiceover, or I'm doing whatever the hell I'm doing. But today I'm going to start working on some just nerdy knowledge, nerdy information stuff. Starting with Star Wars information. I'm active in a community called Force Power Battles, where they do a lot of versus matches with different characters from the Star Wars universe. And obviously in these, most of the time, it's a lightsaber battle. So I thought that today I would go over some general lightsaber forms and information on it. These types of things, though, I'm going to try to keep as short as possible. Just give a brief overview of everything while still providing you with information. Links down below will cover some more information that you can gather in the future. So let's just go ahead and start. To start off, there are a total of 7, technically 8 forms of lightsaber styles. Shicho, Makashi, Soresu, Ataru, Shiangemso, Nimin, and Juo and Vapad. Sorry if I mispronounce any of those, but that's what they are. Each one has their own strengths and weaknesses, and each one has their own practitioners that truly excel with it. None of these are inherently weak, and none of them are inherently strong. So let's start with Form 0. Form 0 isn't a lightsaber style of combat. It's a way of thinking, knowing when and when not to bring out your lightsaber in certain situations. Kyle Katarn taught that even a diffused and turned off lightsaber is enough to send a message and sometimes completely stop conflict before it even happens. Very important lesson for many Jedi and even some Sith. Although not a lot of Sith use that. So Form 1 of lightsaber style combat is called Shicho. It was used originally when they were switching from vibroblades and swords over to lightsabers. They didn't really have the intent to be used lightsaber against a lightsaber, which was a major flaw in it once that actually started to happen. It was much more of a way to teach people how to use a lightsaber. A lot of younglings, anybody that ever picks up a lightsaber basically uses this as a way to get used to the form, get used to the handling. This does not mean somebody can't master the style. Probably the most prolific master of Form 1 was Kit Fisto. He was a true genius with it and was able to take out multiple enemies at once, which is what it was mainly used for. A heavy, lot of people at once style of combat. It was raw and quick. So Form 2 of the lightsaber styles is called Makashi. Makashi was used primarily to make up for the fact that Form 1 was not used for lightsaber against lightsaber style of combat. It was... Think about fencing when you think about this. It was not meant for a lot of movement. It was meant for fast footwork and very precise and quick swings, and basically just pure dueling. The most prolific user of this that a lot of people would remember is Count Dooku or Darth Tyrannus. He focused heavily on this. You can see it with the way that he would hold his blade when he was attacking people. Everything was precise, everything was focused. The flaw in this, though, was that it was not used to combat blaster fire. It could be used in a duel, but blaster fire was not useful for it in any way. Luckily, Dooku didn't have to deal with that much. So to make up for Form 2's weakness with blaster fire, Form 3, or Soresu, was made. So like I said, Form 3 is used to combat blaster fire. It was also heavily used as a defensive style of combat. Users that use it do not tend to focus on offensive style, which is a weakness in the form. They focus on trying to survive. Probably who is considered the embodiment of the style is Obi-Wan Kenobi. He was considered by Mace Windu to be the true embodiment of the style, a master of the technique, and he was one of the few that was able to use the style to its fullest. The best way to use this style from a master's point of view is to focus on defense while trying to find a flaw in your opponent's style and then attacking it. But again, it was used as a survival and not so much as winning. Now, Form 4 was also known as Ataru. This form was used to make up for any sort of physical limitations that the user may have. This style is very aggressive, very fast, and relies on the user's ability to call upon the Force to enhance their physical abilities. The problem with it is that it is very draining to the person and not used for enclosed spaces. Qui-Gon Jinn was probably killed not only because he was no longer in his prime, but because he was in enclosed spaces and he couldn't use the form to its true ability. Now, probably the greatest master of this form was Yoda. Because of his small size, he had to use the Force constantly. You could see whenever he was fighting, he was jumping around, he was doing all that. That is not a normal technique. That is not a normal thing that he can do, but the form allowed him to use that very effectively. Now, Form 5 has two subcategories, Xian and Jiemso. Form 5 was mainly used to combat the fact that Form 3 did not have a lot of offensive abilities. Form 5 was used for very quick and powerful attacks and then quickly going into a defensive mode. Xian, the first subcategory, was used whenever you're heavily outnumbered and not good against one-on-one. Jiemso was used purely for lightsaber combat, not so much for blaster fire being outnumbered. The best users of this are probably Vader and Darth Bane. Vader, after being defeated by Kenobi, integrated all forms into his style to make up for some of the weaknesses that the form had. Now, Darth Bane was very powerful, very big, and that's what Form 5 is used for mainly. It uses the user's strength and power and size to its ability, and those are the people that can master it the most. Form 6, or Nimin, was a combination of Forms 1 through 5, excluding Forms 2. It allowed the user to become a jack-of-all-trades without truly mastering a form. Its weakness was considered anybody that mastered Makashi, because it wasn't used for lightsaber combat as much as it was to let the user become good in combat and give them time to just increase their knowledge in the Force and other activities. Two masters of it, though, that truly did excel in combat with it were Kas'im, the teacher of Darth Bane at the Sith Lord Academy, and Exar Kun after he fell to the dark side. It's somewhat ironic that they both became true masters of it, being Sith, since the whole purpose of it is to find a moderation and peace and harmony within the Force as well as in combat. And the Sith aren't really known for that. Now, Form 7 is a rather unique form. It has two subcategories like Form 5. They are Juo and Vapad. Juo is used for controlled rage, controlled emotion. It's all about being able to use your raw emotion in the middle of combat and giving yourself over to it while at the same time staying calm. The problem with this is it can lead to issues in combat, like Darth Maul losing to Obi-Wan Kenobi. He was too into the fight and was caught off guard. Now, the creator of Vapad was Mace Windu. Mace Windu found a way to basically use the dark side inside of a person to control and focus the rage. The more rage and fear an opponent had, the more powerful their style was, because it created a conduit into it. The problem is, if you're facing a very calm person with no emotion, really, it's useless. So those are the 7 styles, technically 8 styles of lightsaber combat. Like I said, it was just a brief overview of each. There's a lot more to each style, a lot more to how they were used, the practitioners, so much more that I didn't cover. If you feel like leaving a comment about what I did good, what I did bad, if I was wrong on something, feel free to do so. If you want to subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this one or other ones, feel free to do so. But that's it for now. I had some fun doing this. I hope you guys learned something, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video. So, see you later.